hope you have understood Socrates as a father of philosophy and the father of ethics, along with the meaning. So when we take Socratic position, then sophists don't appear to be philosophers. So we use this title for Socrates. Similarly, when we understand the ethical position of Socrates, sophists appear to be unethical, and we call Socrates as the father of ethics also. Is that clear? So now let us discuss the ideas of Socrates, and the objective here is basically to understand his theory of knowledge. And the theory of knowledge is linked to the theory of idea, and the theory of idea is linked to the theory of soul. So we will see the metaphysical aspect of Socrates. We will see Socrates' ontology, and we will also see Socrates' epistemology. I will try to separate it, but all these three things are very, very interlinked. Fine. So Socrates, you can write side by side. Socrates search for knowledge. Yeah. Socrates theory of knowledge. Socrates theory of knowledge. How it all began. Socrates theory of knowledge begins with this question: what is the purpose of life? Write this question. Socrates' theory of knowledge begins with the question, what is the purpose of life? Okay, right, next paragraph. Socrates was not, you can continue writing, Socrates was not the first person to write or write. Socrates was not the first person to inquire what is the purpose of life. Fine. Again, let us go back. Right. Philosophers in ancient Greece first tried to understand what is life. What is life? Means what are the physical and the chemical properties, like physicists, physiologists, biologists. What is life? Fine, write it down. They tried to explore the physical, chemical and the biological properties of life. They tried to explore the physical, chemical and the biological properties of life. Right? Hence, they can be clubbed as naturalists. Hence, they can be clubbed as naturalists. Okay, Right, next, after that came the next set of scholars. After naturalists came the next set of scholars whom we call sophists. Whom we call sophists. Right? Sophists also explored the question. Right? Don't write also, right? Sophists explored the question, not what constitutes life, rather what constitutes good life. Sophists explored the question, not what constitutes the life, but what constitutes the good life. Underline what constitutes the good life. Fine, write it down. However, for sophists, money and power constitutes good life. However, for sophists, money and power constitutes good life. Okay, right, next paragraph. Socrates held that we have to understand the meaning of good life more deeply. Socrates held that we have to go to understand the meaning of good life deeply, and hence he held that we should have the knowledge of good life. Hence Socrates held that we should have, right, the knowledge of good life. Is this clear? So what is the purpose of good life? Fine. So Socrates held that what is the purpose of life? Okay, so now you can write just as a flow chart. The purpose of life is good life. You should lead a good life. The purpose of life is to lead a good life. Good life means a life of happiness. Good life means the life of happiness. So purpose of good life is the happy life. Fine. Now, to be able to lead a good life, what is needed? First thing that is needed is the knowledge of good life. What is needed is the knowledge of good life. Fine, underline this. What is needed is the knowledge of good life. I am using this word, the knowledge, in a definite sense. The knowledge does not, so what does it mean? Not any knowledge, rather the real knowledge. Fine. So not any knowledge, rather the real knowledge. So the knowledge of good life which sophists were telling is not the real knowledge. It is just a illusion of the knowledge. Fine. It is just a perception and not knowledge. Fine. So while inquiring for the purpose of life, The purpose of life is good life. Good life means a happy life. So I should know what is a happy life. What constitutes happiness? Earning money by unfair means, will it give me happiness? Or a simple life but living ethically will give me happiness? So to be able to live happily, you require knowledge. What is the purpose of knowledge? Fine. The purpose of knowledge is to lead a good life. Why are you studying philosophy? What is the purpose? The purpose of philosophy is not just that you clear an exam. So you will be the most foolish person that you clear the exam, you do lot of hard work, and after that you end up being fools. After becoming an officer, you go for the path of corruption. Is this, and you face CBI inquiry or this, that inquiry, then you will be the most foolish person. Is this clear? So the purpose, the story of the theory of knowledge begins with this question: what is the purpose of life? The purpose of life is to lead a good life. If you have got a life, life is the most valuable thing. Fine, and this is the most precious gift of God unto us. And if we have, and you live for once, and if you have not lived your life properly, it will be a complete wastage. You have to remember that you will not get this life again. So right now, what we see, the problem of suicides has become so common. So people are committing suicide. One of the reasons they are committing suicide is dissatisfaction with the life. Dissatisfaction with the life is somewhere, even after earning money, even after earning fame, they realize that somewhere they are missing something. And one of the reasons they commit suicide is because, why suicide is considered bad? Because it is an act of ignorance. This life at least you know, but you don't know what happens after death. What happens after untimely death? Have you understood this? So if you have a life, lead a good life. To be able to lead a good life, you require the knowledge of good life. Now anybody is coming and saying, I have a knowledge of good life, doesn't mean that person has a knowledge of good life. So you have to gain not any knowledge, you have to gain the knowledge, the true knowledge of good life. Okay, so a person should have the knowledge of good life. Good life means happy life, excellent life. Okay, so right, next. So the person should have, right, person should have the real knowledge about good life. Fine. And for Socrates, Sophist's view of knowledge is not the real knowledge. Okay. So began the search for knowledge. Search for knowledge means search for real knowledge. Real knowledge means not any knowledge. Which appears to be knowledge. For example, sophists. rather the true knowledge. Rather the true knowledge.